Let me first introduce you Sergiu Nichitean, a true OG in the space, builder, one of the few builders in the Solana ecosystem from Romania. He's the co-founder at Solemna, a no-code website builder for NFT projects. Sergiu.
Thank you. Let me just switch. Okay, so here is the Solana white paper. It has 30 pages. We have 30 minutes, so I'm gonna read 1 page per minute. It's very interesting, I promise. Kidding. Okay, just kidding. Yeah, so for real, I'm trying to make a presentation which is like 50% technical, 50% non-technical. So in between the technical parts, I will put some interesting stories which are like for everyone, because I know some of you are technical in the Web3 space. Some of you are just interested in crypto, but not technical. Some of you are neither of this. For example, my wife Victoria, she's here. Ciao. So I will also try to introduce really fast the basic concepts of Web3. So a little bit about myself. I've been a software engineer since 2006. I actually got interested in building on Web3 pretty late in 2021, so I'm not that OG as Marius said. I launched my first project called Chain Guide at the beginning of last year. It's a no-code builder for smart contracts on Ethereum. In the meantime, I put that project on standby because I was part of the Future Makers incubator for startups, and during that time I learned about the Solana ecosystem, and it basically was love at first sight. So I decided to build a new project on Solana. So I found the solemna.com domain, and I said that's perfect. It's like a play in words of Solana. So Solemna, as Marius said, it's a no-code website builder for NFT projects. I will tell you more about this at the end of the presentation. So I'm going to try to explain all the basic concepts in 10 seconds each. So what is a blockchain? Basically, it's a decentralized database. It's a distributed database which acts also as a ledger, so data is only appended, and what's in there cannot be changed anymore. So like I said, it's decentralized. What does this mean? The database is stored on multiple nodes at the same time, but there isn't one single entity that owns all the nodes, or entity, government, or company. Every node is independent. This is what it means to be decentralized. Consensus is another important aspect of the blockchain. Basically, the data that is appended is in the form of blocks, and nodes create new blocks. But every node has to come to a consensus that the data is valid on the blockchain. And also it's important to note that it has to be a challenge to create new blocks, because if everybody was able to easily create blocks, there would be chaos. So there are mechanisms in place to make it challenging to create new blocks. Another important aspect is public and private keys. Basically, on the blockchain, data moves around in transactions. A block is built out of transactions which are made between accounts. An account has a public and a private key, just like you have a street address, which is the public key, everybody can know that, and you have your keys in your pocket, which are private. You cannot share them with anyone. Another important concept are hash functions. Basically, you feed them an arbitrary text, and the output is a fixed length string, which is the hash. And the hash is not reversible. If you know the hash, it's impossible to know the original string, but if you know the string, it's easy to make the hash. This is important to note. So, talking about consensus, here are the most important consensus mechanisms on the blockchain. Proof of work is the first one, which was put in practice by the Bitcoin network. Basically here the challenge of creating new blocks is put in place by a mathematical challenge. Basically the nodes have to solve a mathematical puzzle in order to be able to propose new blocks. Then the next consensus mechanism is proof of stake, which came as somehow as a solution to the trade-offs of proof of work, which are the energy consumption mainly. In proof of stake, the challenge of proposing new blocks comes through money, basically. In order to participate to the network, you have to lock a certain amount of tokens from the network, which basically are money, are financial value. And then the nodes who propose blocks are chosen by an algorithm or through randomness. Okay, enough with the technical side. Let's talk a little about Solana. So Solana was invented by this guy, Anatoly Yakovenko. He was born in the Ukraine. He moved to the United States in the early 90s. He worked for 13 years at Qualcomm, where he worked on operating systems for mobile phones, which is actually the place where he got the idea to implement a new consensus mechanism called proof of history, which is based on the tracking of time. We will go into that a bit later. Oops, thanks. He basically teamed up with a bunch of colleagues from Qualcomm and with the non-technical co-founder Raj Gokal. And in 2020, they launched the Solana mainnet officially. The name Solana comes from a town called Solana Beach, which is near San Diego, where the Qualcomm headquarters was. Okay, so what is proof of history? As a pretty good Solana developer has put it, Solana is a proof of stake blockchain plus some extra shit. That extra shit is basically that the validator which is chosen to propose a new block also generates ticks. These ticks are just hashes where the input is the previous tick. So in this way, you know the exact order of the ticks. So this helps to synchronize time between all validators in the network. And this enables the validators to validate the transactions in any order and in parallel, which is basically what makes it so fast. Yeah, so let's go back to the basic stuff. What is a token? Basically, now I'm talking about non-native tokens. Each blockchain has native tokens like Ether for Ethereum, Sol for Solana. And these tokens are the custom ones that anyone can create. For those familiar with Ethereum, I'm talking about ERC20, or on Solana, this would be SPL tokens. So these are, the blockchain enables anyone to create a currency. This is the idea here. And smart contracts are basically an evolution of the original Bitcoin model where you only transact value. You can now transact data and execute data on the blockchain. So the blockchain becomes a huge computer. Now let's see some specific things about Solana and how smart contract structure works. I made here a comparison between Ethereum and Solana because I know some of you are developers on Ethereum. On Ethereum, when you, for example, when you create an ERC20 token, you deploy a smart contract, and this smart contract has a state. The state is basically a dictionary where it is recorded which account has how many tokens. On Solana, smart contracts, which are called programs, are stateless. They don't store anything. You deploy a smart contract, a program on Solana once, and then everything happens through accounts. The Solana blockchain is full of accounts. This is the first confusing thing for an Ethereum developer who switches to Solana. So here, for example, we have the token program, which is one single program in the whole Solana blockchain. And to create a new meme coin, for example, you just call a function on that program, and it creates an account. And then another account is created when you mint such a token, which indicates how many tokens you own, for example. Another basic thing, dApps, decentralized applications, are basically like web pages, but they connect directly to the blockchain, or they can also be mobile apps. So let's continue with the Solana story. They have risen in popularity in the 2021 bull market. There are some milestones here. I'm not going to present all of them. They did the first hackathon in March 2021. They reached all-time high of the Sol token in November 2021, and that's also when their first global conference happened, the Breakpoint conference. Important entities on Solana. Basically, I've split them into three. In the first column are the internal entities, like Solana Foundation is a non-profit organization that helps all projects that want to develop on Solana through money, like grants, or through just advice and connecting people and so on. We are, for example, in collaboration with Solana Foundation. Solana Labs is basically the first team of core developers on Solana. They are part of a company, basically. They built the first things. Oops. Yeah. So these are the internal entities. Metaplex is a separate organization that created the NFT standard on Solana. Coral is another important entity. They created Anchor, which is an important framework for developing Solana programs in Rust. Then on the third column, the biggest NFT marketplaces are Nichitean and Tensor. Let's see the pros and cons of the Solana blockchain. The pros, it's very fast and very cheap. Now the cons, because it's so fast and cheap, it's prone to attacks because it's very easy to make a lot of transactions. This is the reason for most of the outages that happened on the Solana blockchain. Some of you may know that there have been outages of hours or even more than 1 day in the past 2 years on Solana. This is mainly the reason. And there is a lower decentralization. So it's more centralized than other major blockchains like Ethereum or Bitcoin, mainly because the requirements to run a Solana validator are really high. You can see a comparison here. You need a 12-core CPU, 256 gigabytes of RAM, and 2 terabytes of hard disk to have a Solana validator. So it's pretty expensive. Okay, so now what are NFTs? They are just like the tokens I mentioned before. but those tokens are fungible like dollars. $1 is the same as another dollar, but here each token is unique because, just a second, yeah, because it has some data associated to it that makes it unique. For example, an image. The most popular NFTs are profile picture NFTs, PFPs, right now, because they don't have much utility, but it's cool to put them on Twitter as your profile picture. But we're moving towards a more utility-based ecosystem. I will tell you shortly. Okay, so NFTs on Solana. Like I said, Metaplex created the NFT standard on Solana, which is called Candy Machine. This is because the Candy Machine program, when you mint an NFT, it gives you a random token. You don't know what you get, exactly like in a candy machine. So, like I said, basically, these are just like normal tokens, but they have associated metadata to them. This is how NFTs work. Okay, we couldn't have talked about Solana without mentioning this event. So after the whole bull market happy things happened, FTX crashed. Sam Bankman-Fried, or SBF, was a huge supporter of Solana. They invested a lot of money in the ecosystem. They built Project Serum, which was the biggest decentralized exchange on Solana. Yeah, and Solana Foundation also had a lot of money locked in FTX. So this was a huge blow for Solana. But actually the most important things for Solana happened after that event. They recently launched the first smartphone for Web3, which has native Web3 capabilities, the Saga phone. And they launched three special types of NFTs. So the first type is related to royalties. Basically, an NFT creator on Solana, when they launch their project, they can set a royalty percentage. So they get the money when the NFT is minted, but then when it's sold on secondary marketplaces, they can also get a percentage of those sales. In the initial Metaplex protocol, this was optional. So marketplaces could remove those royalties. And this small marketplace at the top, which I cannot really pronounce its name, was the first one to make creator royalties optional for NFTs. And then Magic Eden, which is the largest NFT marketplace, noticed that a lot of users were moving to this smaller marketplace. So they were forced to also make royalties optional. This infuriated all NFT creators on Solana and also Metaplex. And so Metaplex created a new type of NFTs called Programmable NFTs, which in their metadata have some rules. So and in the token account, the NFT is frozen until those rules are passed. So now you cannot transfer your NFT without going through the creator royalties rules. Another important story is about Backpack and the Mad Lads NFT collection. This was created by Coral, the company I mentioned before. Backpack is a new wallet that supports executable NFTs. And to showcase this, they've launched the Mad Lads NFT collection, which are executable NFTs, and it had huge success. They minted about $20 million. And basically how it works is that I was lazy. This is the exact same screenshot from a few slides before. But the idea is that in the metadata, again, you have a link to some code now. Basically, you can put HTML, JavaScript, and CSS inside the NFT. And in compatible wallets like Backpack, you can then see these NFTs and click on them, and it executes the code. When they first launched the collection, if you would execute a Mad Lad NFT, you would get rickrolled. nothing would happen. But since then, they added some functionality. You can now stake your NFT if you click on it. Okay, another use case for NFTs on Solana. There's a big company called Helium network. They are creating a decentralized network of Wi-Fi hotspots. They want basically to be like a communications company, but decentralized. So they have about 1 million hotspots worldwide, and they use the blockchain as the technical backend. So they migrated to Solana recently, and they wanted to mint 1 million NFTs. If you want to mint 1 million NFTs on Solana normally, you have to pay $250,000. On Ethereum, you have to pay $33 million. So the Solana developers had to come with a solution to reduce this cost. So they created compressed NFTs. On the technical side, they use a Merkle tree to reduce a big number of tokens, of hashes to a single top hash. So basically, this way, to mint 1 million NFTs costs now $100. So this is a huge milestone. Another use case for these compressed NFTs is Dialect, which is a decentralized messaging app where you can send stickers as NFTs. This is the idea. So they also need millions of NFTs minted because everybody sends stickers on messaging apps. Okay, this was the story about Solana and their NFTs and all the cool stuff that there is in this ecosystem. A little bit about my project. So Solemna is a website builder for NFT projects, as I said. We found this need by testing the market, talking to a bunch of NFT artists. There is basically a percentage of NFT artists who don't want to sell their NFTs only on marketplaces and mint them. They also want to mint them on their own website, but it's challenging now technically to create your own minting website. And another feature that we have is token gating. Basically, pages are only accessible to people who own your NFT. They have to connect their wallet and prove this. You can see me and my co-founder Jakub at some future events at Solana Hacker House in Berlin in August, at NFT Bucharest in October, as Marius said, he mentioned this event, and at the Solana Breakpoint conference this year at the end of October. We will possibly have a booth at some of these events. We will possibly also speak on stage, not sure, but we will definitely be there. Thank you for listening. These are my social profiles relevant for the crypto space. Yeah, and after this, there are a few more things to mention. As maybe you know from the various social posts about this event, we are giving away free Solana NFTs from the Fearless Bulls collection. And in order to get these, you have to scan this QR code and sign up for using a Google form. And then at the end of this event, we will do a random raffle and choose the winners. Yeah, so I actually wanted to do this at the beginning, but forgot. How many, let's see a show of hands. Who here has ever purchased cryptocurrencies on an exchange? Here does self-custody for cryptocurrencies. They have their own wallet where they store. Okay, who here owns at least one NFT on any blockchain? Okay, and who has a Solana wallet and also an NFT on Solana? Okay, so a little more than 3. So we have a few people to win these NFTs. Great. Yeah, thank you. This was all from me for today.